I agree with a lot of what John Purdy said as far as what we've done positively, as far as having space and the water capacity and some strong core services and a good quality of life. I do disagree with you, Craig, though, that our downtown is actually, when we fund money and we pick our winners and losers, sometimes we pick a winner in the downtown when we watch a Nick's Pizza on Randall Road suffer and struggle. So here we are picking a winner downtown, at the same time watching an existing business lose in the outskirts. Things that we've done negatively, business license tax, the rain tax. Every time we see a new tax, a business looks at that and makes a decision that says, can I take that risk? This city council is going to pass this tax. Should I look at some other places, maybe not more business friendly? And the business just can't make that gamble. They have to choose which the city that's going to be more friendly to them. Otherwise, they can't settle down there. Well, that's what we've done to Elgin for too long. We've put people and we've made it too risky for them to come to Elgin. We need to open our doors and invite them back in.
So, business taxes. We need, the city has spent a lot of money in revitalization downtown in Elgin. It is a beautiful area now where it used to be run down. However, where are the businesses? Where are the people who are going to fill those businesses up and make everybody want to go to this beautiful area? Having the downtown business tax, having the business taxes and putting it on a business makes it less possible for businesses to actually open their doors. To open your doors in a business, it costs thousands and thousands of dollars. And to add taxes on top of that, and then add possible taxes where they can look in the future and go, I don't know if we're going to be able to afford this because you're adding this and the other thing. So I think we need to work better at finding out what it would take to get businesses in the town and help them be successful by being able to possibly advertise what a great town Elgin is, and to come on downtown and see it other than just the riverboat.
You know, adding to more business development, nobody would agree that that's a bad thing. What I would say is a bad thing is getting the city council more heavily involved in it, because that equals more government to me. And I think everybody agrees here tonight, we don't need any more government. So how do we fix it? We've got a thing called the Chamber of Commerce. Let's fix it. We've got a retirement community. These people are viable. They have been successful in business. Draw upon them. Use their contacts. Try to work with the U46 and get internships. Make it a pleasurable place. This is how you do it. You do it with the arts. You do it with the community. You do it with everyone's involvement. Don't get the city involved in it. Get your chamber and get them up and running and make them a better chamber. They're only going to do what we tell them to do. Make them accountable. If it doesn't work, fix it. Get somebody who can get somebody who can fix it. Thank you.
Okay, I have great news for everybody, and that is that our official scorer and timekeeper tells us that we have enough time for another question. So, everybody stay put and relax a bit, and I'm just going to hand a new question. I didn't make this one up. And what does it say? Actually, before I read the question, I'm going to start off, we're going to go in a completely different direction. We're going to start with Big Mike and work that way and come around this way and then go through this table. And Larry will have the last word before we go to the sermons. Okay. Does Elgin have an image problem? And if so, what are its causes? Does it affect the business community? And what, if anything, should the Elgin City Council do to address this problem? Answer all of that, whatever you want, as much as you want, in 1 minute.
Well, I'm going to approach this from a different standpoint. Seriously, you know, back in 2003, I was in the Leadership Academy. I graduated from the Elgin Leadership Academy in 2003. And when the mayor was there, I asked the mayor, because he presented, I said, what do you call Elgin? How do you discriminate at Elgin from other towns? Naperville, the technology corridor. What is Elgin? The peanut factory? Is it the banking? He didn't have an answer. Now you look at our water towers, now we're a city in the suburbs. I'm not sure what that means, we're a city. We have to have a cohesive message to get people out here. We don't have that cohesive message. We each have to buy into what it is. If we're going to be a bedroom community, then come live here. If we want to be industry, then come here. But we have to get that message out, and it's critical that we get that message out to the rest of the world, because we have tollways, we have the infrastructure, we're ready for business. We're just not telling them how ready we are. We need strong representation with the community and the business community to get them out here and open up shop here in Elgin.
Does Elgin have an image problem? The people that I know, I would say the answer is yes. It's unfortunate because Elgin is a wonderful place to live. When you look at our crime rate for other communities that are of this size, we are at least at the crime rate or below. Most people look at Elgin that are outside of our community and they feel that we house gangs, which we don't. I mean, this is a wonderful, safe, open-door community, and I think we have an image problem and we need to present that we are a community that is safe and that people should come and enjoy it. Which, again, when you look at the downtown area, the perception when you go through a downtown area and you see so many open spaces, so many places that aren't filled, is this is not a welcoming place. It all ties in with our business and trying to get more businesses down there and to get this whole area to be more welcoming. Elgin is a wonderful town. I love living here and I think it's well worth it.
It's an interesting question. Image. What is image? And I think if you look at it deeper, the city of Elgin is made up of all of us. And so when we say that the city of Elgin has an image problem, that means you have a problem and I have a problem. And it's all a problem that we all need to fix together. And our problems are not made up just because of the city of Elgin, but it's because of this U46 system, it's because of ECC, it's because of District 300, it's because of everything. And it's not just one element that's going to fix that image problem, the so-called image problem. But it's going to require everyone hands-on. And so I think the problem is, and I think you're part of the solution here because you're here tonight. If you look at the voter turnout for this election, it's going to be very low. And it's very sad. And that's part of the image problem that we have, is that people don't care about Elgin. And so I think what we need to do is have more forums like this. We need more people to get involved in Elgin. That's how you fix the image problem of Elgin, is to get people involved in the city. Get people aware of what the city's actually about. People don't even know how the city functions, how it runs. Let's educate people about the city of Elgin, and I think our image problem will go away.
I think Elgin has two image problems. One is the physical appearance of the city. If you drive down the Route 31 corridor, you see a lot of old buildings that look like they're in disrepair. And we need to do something about that to clear up the physical image of the city. And I know a lot has been done already, but it still looks bad. We also have a perception of gangs in the city. And I go to the police chief's meeting every month, and I always ask him about gangs. Everyone thinks we have a gang problem, but we do not have a gang problem. We have a gang image problem. There is no gang activity here. The city is well aware, the police department is well aware of who the gang members are, and they routinely visit them. We know who they are. There isn't a problem with actual gangs. There's an image problem that we need to work on. The city needs to work on that.
Look, we moved out here from Oak Park, which was held up as a national model of a great place to live. And once we got back out here, Oak Park has nothing on Elgin. This place is a fabulous place to live, and its own residents don't even realize it. The quality of life, the amenities, the parks, the green space, the housing stock, the sense of community, the award-winning library. Old House magazine named Elgin the best place in the country to buy an old house or a fixer-upper. Our potent collection of arts organizations and educational institutions, and the fact that our crime rate is the lowest it's been in 30 years. We do have an image problem, but it starts from the inside and grows out. This is a really great community, and we need to start talking about it and believing in ourselves.
I agree with what everyone says. Elgin does have an image problem, and not particularly from the people that live in Elgin, but the people that live outside of Elgin. I spoke to a young couple that recently moved here to Elgin. They were from Palatine. They're both educated. They both have their own businesses. They bought an old house on the west side. And they said they had a group of 8 friends from Palatine, and they were all at that, you know, just out of college at the age thinking where to go. And they tried to convince the other 3 couples to move to Elgin, and they wouldn't because of the image problem. They just, you know, wouldn't consider it. Now this young couple loves Elgin, and how do we get more young, educated couples willing to bring their families to live in Elgin? That's what we need to look for, the next generation of Elgin. I personally feel one of the biggest problems Elgin has is the school district. And we need to work with the school district to increase their capabilities and possibilities of educating our children.
Do we have an image problem, and does it affect the business community? There's 2 sources to answer that question. We have an inter and an intra-image problem. Some people think Elgin on the outside is great, and they are true. Our crime is at a 40-year low. Chief Swoboda is probably the most recognizable and most effective leader we have in the city of Elgin right now. Chief John Fahey with the fire department also makes sure that we are protected in the most cost-efficient manner possible. I'm convinced of that. But when we have people that live here that go out and talk and say, I can't afford the taxes, I can't believe they raise taxes in the middle of a recession, that rolls and continues to infect other people in other neighboring cities. And that comes back to us. It's going to take a while to change our reputation. It takes a while to change any bad reputation. The one thing I would definitely consider in this situation is more great police work. We make quick arrests. We've taken some steps recently in downtown to assure safety by suspending a business license, an alcohol license.
Yes, I believe, unfortunately, there is a little bit of an image problem, but like a lot of these candidates up here, I don't back away from those challenges and helping fix that image problem. I met with a buddy the other day that we hadn't actually spoken that much since college. We were college buddies, and he's a Chicago cop. And again, we're not close friends, but we just kind of keep in contact once in a while. And when he asked me where I was living now, because we hadn't talked in some time, I said Elgin, and he said, oh. And I said, you're a Chicago police officer. You guys have a massive murder rate. I mean, Chicago's a great town, but to me, that's just like the pot calling the kettle black. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's just not true. We're actually one of the second safest Illinois big city. The story's on my Facebook page, I think second only to Naperville as far as Illinois big cities. But you know, you come in Route 25 right over here, you come in and there's some dilapidated buildings, some areas that get fixed up. That's where people are coming in for the riverboat. That's going to have an effect.
When the city wants to do something right, they do it right. The greatest day we've had in the city every year is that Zombie Fest downtown. We have 10,000 people downtown. You ask any restaurant, it's the greatest day they ever have. When they work together when it's done right. When you promote downtown, it gets done. You need to hire a market manager to promote downtown. You know, all the stores on Randall Road, how do they promote their stuff? They put it at the Sears Center, the Marquee, because 250,000 people drive by every day and sees the signs. I asked 2 years ago, said we need marquees to advertise along I-90 Randall, to tell them what's going on in the city. We have one at the center, so you got to be at the center to see it. But see, the city doesn't think. They only think in the short term, and that's the problem. They're narrow-minded, only down to this block, and that's it. Meanwhile, we got Randall Road, 100,000 people a day, 250,000 on I-90 that tell Elgin what it is and fix the image and have people come in.
I'd actually like to start by responding to Carolyn saying my wife and I are young people who are well educated and moved to Elgin 2.5 years ago. So that's not the biggest problem. We fell in love with Elgin right away. There are beautiful homes here that, because of the economic situation in the last 60 years, Elgin has as an incredible resource. Elgin has incredible infrastructure and just so many opportunities. We are on great transport routes. There are people here to work with. We have so many facilities that make this a great city. And when we first moved here, we didn't know Elgin had an image problem. We weren't worried about the gangs. I had friends who grew up not far from here who said, hey, there's a gang problem, but I think that's over now. The most problems I've heard about Elgin's image problem came about with the discussion of the pawn shop. People are here talking about, oh, we can't have a pawn shop in town. It looks better to have a pawn shop there than to have an empty store. Allow businesses to come into town. Allow businesses to fill the empty space we have, and that will fix all the image problem and fix everything.
I believe that Elgin's image reputation has vastly improved since when I was in high school. When I was in high school, gangs ran rampant. We had a really high crime rate. And I saw firsthand a lot of my peers and some of my colleagues that were killed and arrested in direct relation to gang violence. So I would argue that Elgin still does have a gang, it still has a gang problem. We're doing a lot better job today. As of today, Elgin has the second lowest crime rate out of large cities here in Illinois. I praise our current council for doing a great job at reducing these crime rates and helping in turn save a lot of people's lives. And I've seen a lot of my peers who used to be going down the wrong path who are now going on the right path and graduating college. And I really think that Elgin's reputation is vastly improved. Thank you.
Does Elgin have an image problem? Of course we do. The problem is perception is not reality in this case. Yes, we have a lot of issues. Crime is down. I used to watch the crime statistics very closely in the 90s. I was on the Elgin Gang and Drug Task Force, worked very closely as co-chairman with federal grants and the Justice Department, just to name a few. But one thing that I haven't heard anybody else mention, and that is the perception or reality, depending on your perspective, of illegal aliens. And do we welcome them here or don't we? Well, we shouldn't. Now, I'm not talking about legal, and I'm not talking about hard-working, honest people. I'm talking about those who come to our community who are not citizens, who perpetrate crimes against the community. That causes an image problem to everybody outside, because we're not a suburb, we're a city. I want to also echo Carol's comments about the school district, but that's not a city issue. Our image problem with the school district is outside of the district. Thank you.
I would like to see Elgin be able to correct the deficiencies in its housing stock. When we talk about image, we're talking about driving down the street and seeing homes that have not had a nickel put in them in 30 years. When I moved here in '80, the community was spruced up a little better than it is now. The people that lived in the homes were a little older. They have since gone to nursing homes and whatever, and the new people that have moved in seem to be stretching just to make it day to day. And I think we need to do something to correct that problem, and it's pretty significant. And I'm kind of at a loss because I feel that government shouldn't be too deeply involved in our personal daily lives, but there's a problem, and we have to tend to it.
Thank you. This is quite amazing. These candidates, I don't know, I wish we could vote for 6 or 7 of them. It's a great opportunity we have this year. I'm glad everyone was able to come and hear what we have. Now, what's most important though is moving on to the closing statements, where a chance for these people to have a chance to shine. And as a Christian, I do strongly believe in the concept of grace. And so we'll start the 2-minute closing sessions after Jim gets a timer set. We'll, at the risk of getting slings and arrows from various people, we'll start with Driver Tom.
Okay, I get closing. 2 minutes?
You're the first one.
Okay, thank you.
Wait a minute.
I appreciate it.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Wait a minute. Wait for the clock.
Oh. Okay, that's fine. Hey, how are you? The football game's in overtime. Ready? 2 minutes, right? Okay, I'll start talking. Okay, the problem with the city, and we got to deal with, is the spending's out of control, and they spend it on ridiculous items. And what really hurts me is that We used to have a great Thanksgiving dinner, Thanksgiving dinner at the Heavens Auditorium for everybody who wanted to join. And it serves 1,500. Last year we couldn't have it because the city demanded 1,100 up front. Okay, that's fine. But you look where they knew the money. They gave Hoffman State $78,000. The city, the top 10 at City Hall, buy tables. The city buys tables for the top 10 at City Hall to go to all these banquets, these fundraisers and so forth. At $800 to $1,000 a table, they spent $2,600 for the top 10 at City Hall to be wine and dine all night. But somehow they can't give us $1,100 to feed 1,500 people at the regional dinner. That's sad, that really hurts. The Zombie Fest was a great thing. The pub crawls are a great thing. That brings people in. But that's when everybody works together. But right now with the 3% liquor tax and all the other business taxes, it's crunching us. We need this video gambling bad for the local bars, the people that go wants to have a drink and put 10 or 15 bucks in one of those video casinos, machines. That does money in for the local bar owners and restaurant owners. You guys go out to the pizza places, anything tonight, you ask your owners, what do you think about this video gambling? And they all want it, because this is their lifeline right now. Some of these bars got for sale signs going up in front of it right now. We need to help these people and the whole town out. And that's the reason you need me. I'm a full-time resident of this place. I don't go to this council meetings and take off for Arizona and just only come back every other week. You know, this is another problem with this council meeting. There's no attendance. You don't have to show up at all, you get paid. You don't even have to live in this town and get paid. This is ridiculous. You hire me, I will work for you, and I'll show up every day.
Again, Tom's always very hard act to follow. Just wanted to thank you again for having us out tonight. I think that these forums are actually very important to get a good look at the candidates and what they stand for. I believe we have an important election coming up, and it's somewhat of a crossroads, I think, that this election is representing. And what I mean by that is that, you know, we don't need any more status quo, we don't need any rubber stamping, we don't need any new taxes, we don't need any career politicians. We need independent thinkers that work for a living, that have a mixture of business success and personal just integrity to get the job done and truly represent the people and be the voice for the people and of the people. And I'm certainly not here to, you know, be negative or bash anyone on the current council, the mayor, the city manager. It's not about that. It's not looking at the past. If anything, it's just learning from the past. What we're here to look at is right now and what we can do in the future. And what I'm hoping to bring, and what I know I will bring to the table is, if elected, working closely with our police, fire, and our education officials, be very pro-business, work on the image of Elgin and U46. U46 does have its own image problems or issues, and I want to work on that just as much as Elgin's image issues because they coincide. Downtown revitalization, keep focusing on that. A need for roundtable discussions. You know, when's the last time we had city leaders truly have some sit-down roundtable discussions with the people that own those vacant buildings or the business owners, managers, and so on. Fiscal responsibility will be an absolute staple of my candidacy. And accessibility. You're going to have my contact info, Facebook page like John does. And hopefully I can be the voice that you guys need.
Thank you for coming. I knew you guys cared. I really, really knew you cared about the #1 issue in this campaign, and that's taxes and spending. And it's so important to come to that realization. And just a couple of housekeeping things before we go. Go to my Facebook page. It's John Prigge, Elgin, Illinois City Councilman. I'm clearly the most active person on the City Council on Facebook. I post, I respond, I stimulate conversation. I'm also, as I promised 4 years ago, would be the only councilman that has his own dedicated website dedicated to nothing but City Council business. That's johnprigge.com. I have palm cards out in the lobby that please feel free to pick those up and take a look. And I'll be glad to talk to anybody afterward about any clarification you may need or extra questions. These forums are a process that leads to a day of reckoning. On April 9th, you're going to determine if you like the way things have been going on, especially the last 2 years, or if you're up to the point where you're saying, you know what, enough's enough. I can't afford this anymore. I can't afford to be not considered in the plans of my money. And you'll have that opportunity on April 9th. First of all, let me just go and say this. I love Elgin. I put 30 hours a week on average into this job. And this is a job. It's not a bowling league. It's not an excuse to go out drinking on Wednesday nights. This is a job, and people need you the most now in the last 2 years. So I recommend anybody running, be ready to work, because in the first couple of months, you will be smoked out if you are not working for the citizens of Elgin. No question about it. We do have a spending addiction problem. The only way that's going to stop, I believe, is in this election. The rain tax, next council meeting, we're going to have before us to approve the study for a $288,000 rain tax. The people behind the rain tax made one strategic mistake. They didn't get it passed before this election. This is the time to talk to the people that are running and say, I'm not going to pay a tax on rain. I'm just not. So I'm asking you to vote early on April 9th. Give me 5 minutes in that voting booth so I can give you 4 years of more hard work.